Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility, where we take a look at and review some of the new releases in the realms of hard rock, heavy metal, progressive rock, jazz fusion, jazz, classic rock. We cover a wide spectrum of music here. Today we're going to look at a brand new release from MoonJune Records, talking about Gary Husband and Markus Reuter, Music of Our Times. So, both of those names hopefully should be familiar with most folks who listen to jazz and avant rock and prog and what have you. So, Gary Husband, been around a long time. He's an acclaimed drummer, pianist, keyboard player. He's played with a who's who of different artists over his career, like John McLaughlin and Alan Holdsworth and Mike Stern, Robin Trower, Billy Cobham. He's been in an offshoot, like latter period version of UK, Soft Machine Legacy, so on and so forth. And then you have Markus Reuter, who, touch guitarist, multi-instrumentalist, and producer. He's played with the Stickmen. All right, he's played with various different offshoots of King Crimson, such as the Crimson Project. He's played with Tim Bonus, Ian Boddy, all sorts of different groups and different configurations and projects. All right? And he especially has been a kind of fixture on the MoonJune Records label in more recent years. So this, again, is called Music of Our Times. So just to give you a little insight into, and there's the two guys right there. Nice little package here. So basically, in early March of this year, both of these guys were in Japan, and the Stickmen were doing a little bit of a tour. And of course, we know what kind of happened, right? Pandemic hit, coronavirus, COVID-19. So the tour had to get canceled. Gary Husband was actually there as well because he was going to make some special appearances with the group. And basically everybody kind of had to quickly get on planes and go home. Well, both of these guys got kind of stuck in Japan for a little extra time based on, delays with flights and all that sort of thing. So they had some extra time on their hands. So basically what they did, so they were there with the MoonJune Records headman, founder, and also producer Leonardo Pavkovic. And he said, you know what, let's take advantage of this little bit of downtime. Why don't we go book a studio and put something together? So that's what they did. So they made their way into one of the studios in Japan and just kind of played an improvised, unrehearsed set of music, which turned out to be this. Okay, and very basic. So you had Husband on grand piano, Reuter on touch guitar, and some live electronics. So they basically used what they had and put together these selections of tracks, which there are 6 of them in total. And if you've been kind of paying attention, which there's no way you haven't, because we're all living through it. The last couple of months have been, a lot of feelings of isolation and, uncertainty. And in some cases, some people, depression, and a lot of flooding emotions have gone through a lot of us, dealing with what we've been dealing with for the last couple of months. And even though this was kind of recorded and put together, kind of, depending on where you live in the world, sort of at the beginning of the whole phase, the whole lockdown phase, which has taken over most of the universe here, most of the world, these guys perfectly kind of captured that kind of feeling of uncertainty and hesitantness and confusion in these instrumental tracks. And, most of them are fairly lengthy and very minimalistic. So in many cases, you've got, Gary Husband laying down some very kind of yearning and emotional lines and melodies on the piano. You got Reuter coming in and out of the mix with some kind of cool little touch guitar noises, as well as bubbling electronics and little dramatic swells and things like that. So it's not like busy jazz music. It's not, complex prog. It's just kind of like this, hard to explain. It's really hard to explain. Up until like the last track on the album, which is Illuminated Heart, that's when you start to hear some kind of jazz melodies and things like that. But for the most part, just really cool soundscapes. And you the feeling of like being locked in, that uncertainty, right? They really captured it. And again, I guess the guys were probably thinking, here they are, they're stuck in Japan. Not sure when they're going to be able to get on a plane and get back home. And just, they got some studio time. It's like, all right, let's just put some stuff together. So it really bled through the music. And it's actually a very haunting, very beautiful album in its like kind of ability to mystify your mind, which is probably trying to classify it. That's the interesting thing. When I listen to this, I was trying to kind of put it into a box, because that's kind of what we do when we review music, right? And try to decipher music. We try to put it in a nice, neat box, and this didn't really fit anywhere. It's not like, if you follow the career of Markus Reuter, he's done some pretty extraordinary stuff. He's an amazing talent, but he's not like, his touch guitar is not like all over the place on here at all. He kind of comes in and out, very tasty, right? And a lot of times he's providing like just kind of like soundscapes in the background. But it's like, Garyhusband, who, most people know as a drummer. He's a really fine keyboard player, a piano player, keyboard player as well. And I think he's just dropped some really deft and gorgeous melodies throughout here. But again, these are not like kind of really structured songs, right? These are basically kind of like improvisations. And I think they're very, very well done. For, two guys, or you want to call them three, we'll throw Leonardo in here as well, because I'm sure he was helping kind of guide the stuff and sitting there twiddling the knobs. Job really well done. Some really gorgeous stuff on here, some kind of like thought-provoking stuff. And I think, like I said, if you've been kind of, having all these feelings over the last couple of months based on what's going on in the world, I think this will be a kind of a soothing soundtrack for those feelings. And I think these guys perfectly captured what, kind of what we're all going through and what we've all been going through. So job well done. Music of our times, perfectly applicable, right? The title is just perfect. Garyhusband and Markus Reuter, MoonJune Records. Go and check it out. It's quite enjoyable. Read our full review at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. So we'll see you guys later on. Chris Caffrey coming on board for a top 10 song show of Sabotage, as well as we're going to rank the studio albums of Return to Forever. Chick Corea's Return to Forever. It's all coming up later today. You don't want to miss any of it. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.